We are. Welcome everybody to the Ultimate Coach book reading, and I would love to pass it over to my beautiful co-host, Miss Martha Jeffers. Thank you, Martha.
You're welcome, and thank you, Tanya, for greeting us in such a manner. Welcome, everyone, wherever you're from. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this world of ours. I'd like to just take a moment right now and acknowledge the first lady of our Being movement, Amy Hardison, and also Alan D. Thompson for their commitment in writing this book and the dedication in creating the book of being as we know it, The Ultimate Coach. And also thanking Steve Hardison for having said yes to the writing of the book, to having said yes to Alan D. Thompson, and to allowing us the opportunity to learn about being. I also want to thank Donna Hall for being here with us. Yay, Donna. Thank you so much for having said yes as well to today's reading, chapter 20, Iyanla Vanzant. Did I say that right? No, Iyanla. Say it, Tanya, for me.
Iyanla
Iyanla
Vanzant.
Vanzant. See? Okay. Now, what I want to say, she is the great mother. We know her as the great mother. I have read many of her books and have followed her through YouTube, through Oprah Winfrey's channels, and have loved her dearly. I've learned so much from her. She's a powerful force of a woman. And I can't wait till Donna gives us a little bit of insight into her own experience with Iyanla. So today, it's such a treat to read for you to read for us today, Donna, as we read in community and we read and listen to the questions that come up in the front of the book and in the back of the book. We create, all of us create this particular community as an opportunity to co-create in space so that we can have a deeper experience of the book and to further explore the being community. As we begin today, if you would, on the chat, if you have had an experience with this book, would you like to just share on the chat what that experience might have been so far with the book? Whether it's your first time reading it or whether it's the 15th time reading it, is there one little spark of the many, of course, that comes to mind right now that you might want to share with us? So go ahead and share a little bit of that in the chat. Learning about my own barriers. Oh, yes. Yes, so many experiences, Dave. That is true. That's for me too. So many. I am that I am. It's been total transformations. The 5th time you've read this book. I have a voice. Yes, yes. I so resonate with those, with all of what you're sharing. Creating my document through reading this. Absolutely. This is the 3rd time I read this book. I'm at peace with my past. I'm creating miracles. Beautiful, Anne-Marie. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for allowing us to see the impact this book has had on you and certainly on me. I would ask that while we acknowledge one another, and we realize how powerful it is to acknowledge one another, that at this time in this reading community that we request that you share only about you. And if you feel called to acknowledge someone, please do so either on the chat or on private messaging, and allow that to have the experience just with you and that individual at a different time. So now we request that when you read about you. And when you listen, please listen about you. And when it comes time to share, please share about you. It's so beautiful, as stated by Byron Katie. All we experience about anyone else is the idea that we have of them. Please be aware that as you are sharing and you were to start to share from an idea of someone that is not you, we may lovingly guide you back to share about you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. And now I'll pass this on to Carrie, who is our moderator. Carrie?
Thank you, Martha. Hey, all, I am so grateful to be here tonight, and I'm so glad that all of you could make it here with us. First thing we want to do is we want to see who has a copy of that book. So if you have a physical copy, hold that up. Let's see those books. Perfect. Perfect. Oh, pardon me. If this is your first time here tonight, there's a couple of faces that I don't recognize, but if you if this is your first time being here today, will you raise your electronic hand? Just go down to reactions at the bottom of the screen, and then it should allow you to raise your hand there. Jim, perfect. Thanks for being here tonight. Everybody else? Great. Jim, we're so glad that you could make it. Everybody, we're glad that everybody could be here today.
Welcome, Jim.
We also greatly want to welcome and thank Donna for being here today and for being our guest reader today. We are super excited to hear your stories and hear your reading. Okay, is there anybody out there that would like to volunteer to read the back of the book? David, perfect. So we'll have David read the back of the book. Anybody, Jim, would you like to read the before you begin?
No.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay. Anybody else would like to volunteer for that? Carol,
Okay.
perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do, this is the flow of how we'll have things go. First, we're going to have David start off reading the back of the book. We'll immediately go into having Carol read the before you begin. And then right after that, Donna, you feel free to just jump right into chapter 20 and start reading. All right? Perfect. Thanks, everyone. And can you unmute David?
There we go. Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Good. Dear potential reader, as you may have noticed, there are no testimonials on the back cover of this book imploring you to read it. I vetoed that. The only testimonial I am interested in is the one you will have from reading and experiencing this book. Please do not read this book about me. Read this book about you. Read it about being. As you read, ask yourself, who would I need to be a more loving person? Who would I need to be a more effective parent? Who would I need to be to create a level of confidence that is remarkable? Who would I need to be at peace with who I am? Who would I need to be fully in love with myself and my life? Who would I need to be to live the most extraordinary life I can live? I promise you that if you read this book with the intention of expanding your state of being, you will do exactly that. Your experience will be remarkable. Who you are being is everything. Loving you, be blessed, be you, Steve Hardison.
I never wanted to write a book, and I haven't. I never wanted to have a book written about me, but here it is. This book is a gift from my wife, Amy, who wrote it, and my friend Alan D. Thompson, who conducted the research and interviews on what it is based. And it's not just a gift to me, but to you too. And now you're reading it. So with your permission, I'll give you some suggestions on how to read it. You see, this isn't an ordinary book. It's not simply a biography. It's not a self-help book. It's not a literary classic. It's definitely not a book about how to coach. In fact, it's not a book about doing anything. It is a book about being, and it's a book about you. To access this book, ask yourself these questions as you read. Who am I being as a partner, parent, or friend? Who am I being as a leader? Who am I being as a member of my community? Who would I need to be to have miracles show up in my daily life? Who would I need to be to create value in the work I do? Who would I need to be to generate a life of abundance? Who would I need to be to alter my relationship with fear? Who would I need to be at peace with my past? Who would I need to be to step powerfully into my future? Who would I need to be present as a way of being? Who would I need to be to live the most extraordinary life I can live? Who would I need to be to know that my life makes a difference? Who would I need to be fully in love with myself and my life? Who would I need to be to improve my relationships with the most important people in my life? Who would I need to be to read The Ultimate Coach and have a personal breakthrough in being wonderful me? The best part of this book is about you. It is endless. The story goes on, and it's written by your being. Loving you, be blessed, be you, Steve Hardison.
Chapter 20, Iyanla Vanzant. Rhonda Eva Harris was born in the back of a taxi in Brooklyn, New York. At the age of 30, she was given the name Iyanla, which means Great Mother. After being initiated and ordained as a priestess in the Yoruba religion, she is an inspirational speaker, a lawyer, a life coach, a best-selling author, a television personality, and the CEO of Inner Visions Institute for Spiritual Development. In 2000, she was named one of the 100 most influential Black Americans by Ebony magazine. In 2012, Vanzant was listed at number 7 on Watkins Mind, Body, Spirit magazine's list of the 100 most spiritually influential living people. In 1999, Iyanla appeared over 20 times on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Audiences around the world watched as she served as a spiritual mentor and coach. Iyanla is warm, wise, incisive, and powerful. The audiences loved her, and so did Oprah. Oprah and Iyanla discussed the idea of Iyanla having her own show. The issue wasn't if she would have her own show, but when. Both decided there were things Iyanla still needed to learn about the television industry and the inner workings of his show. Iyanla was content to wait. While waiting, Barbara Walters offered Iyanla the opportunity to have her own show on Buena Vista Television. Being wanted by the two most powerful women in television was a heady experience. Iyanla was torn. When Iyanla told Oprah about the offer and explained why it looked like a great opportunity, Oprah and her executive producer felt betrayed. They wished Iyanla good riddance with little warmth or goodwill. Iyanla went to New York City, but the dream opportunity turned out to be a nightmare. Her producers were not aligned with her vision for her show. She had no say in critical decisions. They tried to twist, bend, and shape her into someone she was not. She was too black, too in your face, too inner city. They wanted a vanilla talk show host to speak to the housewives of Middle America. They wanted a bland interviewer who read the teleprompter without inserting herself. Iyanla and the executive producer, Bill Geddy, were on a collision course. When the showdown came, Geddy won, and Iyanla was demoralized and broken. The day after the Bill Geddy meltdown, I hired Steve to coach me. Steve Hardison, a brilliant man who is extraordinarily sensitive and downright psychic, although he would never represent himself as such. We had met during our master's program in spiritual studies at the University of Santa Monica. Steve could see directly into my heart. I flew him to New York to get the lay of the land. For 2 days, Steve shadowed Iyanla, talking to everyone involved in the show. At the end of those 2 days, Steve said to Iyanla, "Iyanla, these people do not know who you are. They do not know because you have not told them. Most of them respect you, and they respect the work you did on Oprah, but they do not know your vision. If this show is going to work, you have to let them know who you are. Get them enrolled in your vision and make this process life-giving for you, or you might as well walk away. If this process does not give you life, it will steal your life, and nothing is worth that." Iyanla wrote, "Over the course of 3 months, Steve coached me on how to stand up for myself within myself, and how to take a powerful stand on my vision for the Iyanla show. It was one of the most powerful experiences of my life." More than a decade after the rift between Iyanla and Oprah occurred, they reconciled, and they did so in front of the world. Oprah dedicated the last 2 episodes of her show to broadcasting the reapproachment. It was real, it was raw, it was grace. Iyanla reflects, "Many of my conversations with Steve are etched into my soul. Many I don't remember. I just know the outcome. I can't tell you the words, but by the time I sat down with Oprah, I was her equal. I didn't need anything from her. I didn't want anything from her. I am Iyanla. I had made a mistake, and I had to own it and acknowledge it. And that's what I did. The first thing I said to her was, I have to ask you for your forgiveness. It was my stuff. She got her own stuff, but it was my stuff. I had already healed up the unworthiness. All of that was a result of my work with Steve. The Oprah Winfrey Network, OWN, was created soon after. Oprah gave Iyanla her own show. Iyanla Fixed My Life. In an email to Steve, Iyanla wrote, "This time, I am doing what you and I did together, creating the vision." Iyanla's series ran for 10 seasons with 142 episodes. Oprah Winfrey recalls Iyanla the most powerful spiritual healer, fixer, teacher on the planet, and has referred to her show as the heart of the Oprah Network. In 2014, Oprah surprised Iyanla with a total home makeover that ran into the millions. Ever since their meeting at USM, Iyanla and Steve's relationship had been exceptionally close. She calls him brother, sometimes my fine white brother. They share an obsessive love for shoes. They share a commitment to help see clearly and access their power. They own a little piece of real estate in each other's hearts. "He's just a part of me," says Iyanla. And I like to think I'm a part of him. I just love him deeply. Steve consistently sends Iyanla packages in the mail, articles, books, gifts, things that say, "You are on my mind." Their coaching experiences have welded a permanent link of love and respect, tinged with wonder. Iyanla says, "I haven't found anyone who measures up to him yet, not even me. And I'm good. I'm really good at what I do. I don't hold a candle to Steve Hardison because he's otherworldly. I don't know what planet he came from. I don't know."
Wonderful. Donna, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. What we like to do now is I would like to ask David if he would like to share anything that came up for him during that reading or any thoughts that he has. But before we do that, David, I just want to remind everybody that this is a time to share about you. It's a time to listen about you. And so when you are sharing, please make sure that you are sharing about yourself. Go ahead, David.
Thank you. There we are. It's interesting because I don't know if you hear the sirens outside, but that's Brooklyn. That's where I am currently, where she was born. So that struck me each time I read that. Oh yeah, she was from right here. There are 2.5 million of us, and she was one of us, and Lord knows where she is now, but she's doing, I have a couple of friends who love Iyanla, who I thought were going to be here. Maybe they'll watch the video after the fact. But what struck me in this, besides from where she came from, is the way she had that struggle with her show because they didn't know who she was because she hadn't told them. And she did not realize that she hadn't told them. She didn't realize that they didn't know who she was. But Steve had to point that out. And that made all the difference because it was her show, but people like to control these things. And then she became more of herself. She came into her own being by owning that. And that's what I really took from this, besides her being a homie, so to speak. I took from this the idea that no one is going to know who we are truly and what our vision is unless we tell them. Even if they see us, I mean, they don't know, even if we watched Steve on stage, we don't know unless he tells us on stage, like in the NFL thing. We don't know who, and I've heard him say about Amy, is he only knows his perception of her. He doesn't even know who she is. He just knows how he sees her. And we're all that way. But if we want someone to know who we are, it is our responsibility to let them know, and to do it in a way that they're able to hear it, rather than think that they were imposing something. So it's just it was just interesting to me how he recognized that from talking to the people, and how he took the time to shadow her for a couple of days, because I don't know if he'd do that these days. He doesn't take road trips and shadow people for a couple of days anymore. But it's interesting that he did, and it's interesting what he found out, and the lesson made her more of who she was, where she became Oprah's equal rather than having Oprah be her mentor. And that's what I took from that. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, David. Thank you for reading and for your comments. I love that line of do it in a way that they're able to hear you. We can share all that we want with anyone about ourselves, but if we're not communicating in a way that others can't hear us, there may be that disconnect. And I think for me, that's a really important thing to make sure that I am communicating on the same level as other people, that they can, even if I am showing them, that they are understanding that, and to speak my truth if needed. So thank you, David. Carol, would you like to share what came up for you while you were reading?
Yes, thank you. And thank you to Donna and David for their readings. And I really appreciate what David has just talked about, because I am ready to share how, say, this chapter has impacted me as well as some previous chapters. And I haven't been ready to really open up and talk about that. This whole thing of who are you being has gone deep into my core. The month of November has been just exceptional. In the last 3 readings of I had to get off of the call because my whole body was vibrating and I couldn't figure out what was going on, and especially my left side and my left leg. Just as I read this and read these stories and yes, of telling others who we are, what I have discovered is we also have to tell ourselves first and foremost who we are. And just tonight before I got on the call, I had an experience where my left side started to twitch and move, and it just wouldn't stop. And the message that I got was that I was not fully accepting me as the feminine that I am. And once that came up, is my whole body settled down and settled into that. So really, this is such a gift for everybody's reading, and especially tonight, Donna's and David's. And it just was the evening for me to share with everyone that really and truly, who are we being? To me, that goes into the core of who I am. And it is a juicy, mucky, yucky, loving place. So thank you.
Thank you, Carol. I think what you said is just the epitome of what was meant with the production of this book, is to read this about you.
Yeah.
You know, we have to tell others, but we have to tell ourselves. And so we have to be able to find that within ourselves and share that with everyone around us. That's beautiful. Thank you, Carol. Donna, would you like to share with us anything that came out for you, any insights you have?
Sure. Thank you so much. So when I was introduced to this book, The Ultimate Coach, by Iyanla. I love Iyanla dearly. I've never met her, but she has been my constant guide through all the work that she has done, the programs I've attended with her. She's done things like the From the Ground Up, a course in forgiveness, teaching us about boundaries, a spiritual sanctuary, a whole spiritual study. And those things has really helped me tremendously, because I see her as a woman like myself. When she speaks of her journeys and her experiences in life. So when I read this chapter, I have to tell you, I think it's the one chapter I probably read about 8 times, because it spoke so much to me. And even though I'm a person who've done a lot of personal development and personal growth, when there's a particular line I read here, and I just had to, I didn't know what to do with it. And it's that line when she said that Steve coached me in how to stand up for myself within myself. So one of the things Iyanla has taught us, she says, when you're reading or you're within a program and you have a question because something doesn't resonate with you or you didn't quite capture the meaning of that, she would say, stick it on the Velcro. And the Velcro is that place where you put it there and the universe would provide you with the answer. Because that question came for you, not for someone else to answer, but for the answer to evolve within you. And so her idea of putting it on the Velcro has really worked for me tremendously. So I had to take that line of stand up for myself within myself and put it on the Velcro. And I wrote, as I do with every chapter, I really write little notes, some sticky notes. And I said, how do I do this? Because I have no idea how to do that. And, true to form, that answer came for me, because as I sat with that every day, I realized the person who I have been for a long time and many years in my life has been the person who needed to be what other people needed me to be. So I needed to be the good wife. I needed to be the good friend. I needed to be the good whatever it is, because I felt I needed that. I expected others to recognize that I was being good, And so when my marriage broke down in 2020, and of course, that was after many years, and your marriage breaks down, it takes you into a place of if there's a death. And so during my grieving stage, I had to sit with thinking about me, because it wasn't about blaming the other person, because the only person I had control of was myself. And so I went back to that moment and I realized that I have always felt that I needed that validation from the outside. And whenever I look at it as what I needed from the outside, it came as though it was not something that I had within me, but it was something that had to come from the outside of me. And when I looked at what I wanted, a beautiful flower would evolve and burst open within me, and I would find my peace and I would find my strength. So as I read that line of stand up for myself within myself, I realized this is not about what I need from anyone, but this is about what I want for me, and to recognize that it's already within me. I already have those things within me. The Creator has given that to me. When I recognized it, I was like, wow, isn't life beautiful? Isn't life abundant? Isn't life ever giving, you know? And so when I get to the later part in the chapter where she said, when she met with Oprah, and she said, I didn't need anything from her. I didn't want anything from her. I was her equal. And I felt that within me, that the same people that I look at and who I think are better than I am, or I am not as good as, because I was now looking at myself from a place of want, I was now an equal. I don't want anything from anyone. And for me, that makes my life so beautiful. And that makes me see other people as beautiful as they are. Because while I may probably now thinking about that from about me, other people are probably already there. But that shifted my thinking and really allowed me to love me, and really be in love with who I am, who I was created to be in this world. The other part, that of this chapter that really touched me, it's when Steve said to her, get them enrolled in your vision and make this process life-giving for you, or you might as well walk away. If this process does not give you life, it will steal your life, and nothing is with that. And I thought, wow. And so I had to look at where I am now, because I can't look at anywhere else. And I look at my work and what I'm doing. And sometimes, when we're doing work, it can seem daunting and we get stressful. And I had to look at the work that I'm doing now and ask myself, is this life-giving to me? And if it's not, how do I make it that way? How do I create that for me, that my work that I do every day is life-giving? And by doing little things, by reminding myself of who I am and how I was created, my work has evolved into that for me. So it may not be the place where I think I need to get to that other job, but because I am making my journey life-giving, I find my life gets lighter. I sleep better. I eat better, and I experience joy, which is something for me that comes from within me, and it's not an expectation of something on the outside to give me that. So this chapter had so much nuggets of gold in it for me, that I'm still marinating in it. And I know I would keep on learning and hearing everybody sharing tonight, I would have more insights. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Donna. There are so many things that you shared that were just profound. I was just sitting over here writing like crazy, taking notes on what you said. There's a couple of things that stuck with me. That one was when you shared put it on Velcro and wait for it. But I also, when you were reading the chapter, I also didn't really catch the part when I've read the book before that it said in there, she was willing to wait. And I know that to me, that correlates that this is something I like to get immediate results. I like to make decisions and be able to see the results of that right away. Change on any change I make on me, I want it to happen and be integrated right away. And I think the whole be willing to wait and put it on Velcro is just, it's wonderful. It lets you step back and it lets the universe step in, like you said, and help you with that. So thank you again. We appreciate your contribution tonight and all your words. Okay, so we would now like to open it to anyone who would like to share. If you would like to share, make sure you raise your electronic hand. And then as one person is done, we'll call on the next person. And again, just as a reminder, when you are sharing, please share about yourself. So we're going to start with Miss Martha.
Whew. I've read this chapter several times, and it just new nuggets tonight. And the nugget that stuck for me tonight was the part where she speaks about Oprah and her now being equal. And in reflection of what I've recognized over the several months is that the book of being has allowed me, through its reading, through bringing it into my existence, to really marinate in it, allowing myself to really be who I see myself as. See if I can word this. So that there's no one above me or below me, but that we are equal. And this is huge for me because all my life I was taught to respect authority. And so I would never buck authority, even when I was in corporate. And I would always feel this resentment and this anger with myself and not really understanding what it was about. So coming to light with it now is freedom for me. I experience it as, oh, I can breathe in front of X. I can be who I am in front of whoever it may be. I don't have to make myself small or big or anything. And so this was powerful for me again tonight. Her ability to really get to know herself and then finally come to that place so resonated. So thank you. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Martha. I love what you said about being an equal to other people. I think for me personally, one thing that I have found is that I always felt that there were tiers, that people were in different leagues or that there were inner circles. And once you get to know yourself, you start to see that everybody's the same. You know, we're all just out here trying. We're doing the best that we can, and we're all on the same level, just trying to make it day to day. And that's the beautiful thing about it, is that there's nothing that anybody has to prove to anybody else, that we're all the same that way. So thank you, Martha. Mr. Dave Orton.
Hello. For me, this chapter is one that inspires the hell out of me, mostly because of a couple of things, how Iyanla, became equal to Oprah, not subservient to, not looking for permission from, but not also like there was any one better than the other. And I think that for myself, the last 2 years have been an exploration in the possibility of me being me at the level of power that Steve is Steve, or at the level of power that Wolfgang is Wolfgang, or at the level of power that Donna is Donna. or the level of power that Tanya is Tanya, or that David Block is himself, or that Shauna is Shauna, or that Carol is Carol, and we are that. That's the possibility of this reading. And I feel greatly that we're here to serve one another, right? So as an example of serving one another, you know, Wolfgang and Renata had a vision of getting versions of the book to Africa, and that has happened. And it was through miraculous means that finally occurred, and I got to be a part of that, and I'm grateful to both of them for their vision for that. I've had the opportunity to coach and be coached by Carrie, who is leading the call tonight. And what an enormous blessing she has been in my life. What an enormous blessing I have been in her life. What an enormous blessing we are to each other. And you know, it's the same with many of you here. My dear Martha, at one point she inspired the hell out of me. At another point, I inspired the hell out of her, or so she says. And I'm so grateful for that. So if you're wondering if you're on that list, look in the mirror. If you can see yourself, you are. Thank you for being that. And I am grateful also for the opportunity that I have to be one who stands for the greatness in myself. And there's only one self. That's all of us. And thank you. That's maybe a little bit more outside of myself than it should be, but that was what was here for me from this beautiful chapter. Love you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you, Dave. Dave, I love what you said about about you being you, that each of us just, I think if we can be ourselves and we can serve others authentically, serving others as ourselves, that's going to help us to see ourselves in each other and see each other in ourselves. And it's going to put us all on that level field of, we just want to be here for each other, and we're just here to help and to serve one another. Thank you. Renata, if you'd like to share.
Good morning. Yes, I had an Iyanla experience years ago in a summit about female being, and I liked what she said, and she talked to me back then. But today, that was a whole complete different experience. I read the chapter in the last round already, but this time it really stands out. This thing that we assume that people know us. And then this blunt, if you don't tell them, they don't know. So that was a big one for me today. And also that we need to make sure that our sharing ourselves is landing with the other person. So that's a two-step. So back to who am I being? And that we need to tell that ourselves. It's beautiful. And to stand up for myself within myself. That is really beautiful. And also the recognition that everything is in ourselves already. That nobody actually can give that to us. And what I'm just going through in the moment is allowing the process and be willing to wait. Boy, especially these couple of days that are coming now, because my room 509 Thailand should have happened this weekend, starting tomorrow, and it's not going to happen. We have to postpone it. And so it's a little bit emotional for me, but I made my peace, and the being movement and this book reading helped me enormously in that process, to wrestle down my ego and my pride. You know, I told everybody I'm so committed and this time it will happen. And now I had to postpone it again to make peace with that and start working on making it happen next year. That is a big win. And this chapter just confirmed that I am on the right way here. So thank you, all of you, for the impact you had on me since March this year. I love you all, and I'm so, so, so happy and blessed to be here with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Renata. I always love it when Renata shares, not only because of the profound words that she has, but you can always hear the chickens and the roosters in the background, and I just love it. So sweet. Renata, something that you said made me think of something that somebody said to me earlier today. And I apologize, I don't remember what words you used, but it was, you know, you had to find it for yourself, that other people aren't going to know. And somebody said to me earlier today, everybody is out there worried about themselves. And so if I am trying to show somebody who I am, that's not necessarily what they're looking for. They're worried about themselves and trying to show somebody else who they are. And that person that they're trying to show is trying to show somebody. So we're all kind of all in our own little world. So the importance of sharing who we are and showing people and telling people who we are is incredible. I mean, that's the way that we can connect and get to know, like truly know each other. Wonderful. Thank you, Renata. All right, Miss Andrea.
Thank you. Thank you for the reading. Thank you. Thank you. It was so powerful. I remember this. I haven't met Iyanla yet either, Donna. But she was present at the Ultimate Experience Phoenix. They played a clip of her, and it gave me goosebumps. It just gave me goosebumps, and probably everyone in the room, I'm sure, experienced some of the power of her voice and her being in her power. Really, really, really felt it. And so her power, her voice, her owning her voice, and her talents, her gifts. That really resonated with me, because I'm discovering I have a voice. Someone's leaving. Bye. And today I actually booked my flight to the Ultimate Experience Phoenix, the second anniversary. So it was all it reminded me of hearing her again, and this time I get to be with all of you. Hopefully a lot of us in this room are going there. And just a reminder, I got an awesome deal because it's like Black Friday. So encourage you, if you're in the market for a ticket, now is a really good time to get it. And just as a coincidence, when things are all aligned, it was like $111 each direction. So it's, I see 1111 and repeating numbers all the time. And so that's how I knew I got to it was the right time. So yeah, I'm really moved by her message, though, of owning her power and giving it to herself. And so I appreciate this chapter. I appreciate all of you for your reflections. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you for just sharing about yourself. I love the way that you are able to see things in the universe, like the 1111. You're able to notice a lot of things that way. And I think from you, I've picked up on that and noticing a lot more things of what is going on around us, what's going on around me, that I can integrate and to make me who I am, or to help my authenticity come forward. So beautiful. Thank you, Andrea. All right. Cute Miss Elizabeth.
All right. So I really just was listening and taking it all in. And one of the things that really came up for me was learning to figure out who we are ourselves and just being present with that. And we seek that validation from everybody else. And it's like we're trying to figure out who we are through their eyes. And we're trying to create ourselves through everyone other than ourselves. And it's like we forget sometimes to just go back within. And what Donna said, and that light that she brought to, it's within you. It's all within you, right? It's there. You're going inward. You're finding that flower blooms. Everything is within you. And it just, the shares helped me come back to that idea of, there's nothing left to prove. Hearing those shares, like there's nothing to prove to anyone. You have everything within you. And that was just like, it's like a resounding theme for me, this book reading. Season 4, that's what it is. It's within you. Go within, find who you are and love who you are. Discover that. So thank you, everyone, for helping me see that again.
Thank you, Elizabeth. What kept popping into my head when you kept saying, find you, find it within you, find who you are, is the essence of being. That truly is to function from that place within you of who you truly are and what you know to be true to yourself. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you, dear. All right, Tanya Alvarez.
Thank you. Thank you, Carrie. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Donna, for reading. Thank you so much for reading. Thank you, everyone, for your shares. I am so moved tonight. First of all, first and foremost, that line in the book that says they own a little piece of real estate in each other's hearts. Well, Iyanla holds a little piece of real estate in my heart. So does Steve, but let me tell you a little bit more about Iyanla. Iyanla has sat on my front porch with me with a cup of coffee for the past 2 years. Little does she know, I call her like my godmother, because when I didn't have someone to talk to, or I didn't have someone to go deeper into certain topics with, she sat on my front porch with me through her Awakenings app. And she has an app and it's called Awakenings, and it's so simple. I didn't used to slow down much, but for me to sit down and have a cup of coffee with her and allow her just 3 principles to prompt me. And what she always starts off is be open with, be open to. So whatever topic it was I open to it? and really to recognize where I was, my thoughts around it. If I was closed off, if I was hurting over that one particular thought that she asked to be open to. And then that next principle she'll always ask, pray about, and to pray about that next principle. And then the next one she would say, be present to. And so this week's her be open to was priorities. And her pray about was alignment. And her be present to was self-education. And so, again, just starting off with 3 principles, and every week they were different. But it really allowed me to go deeper. And then that part where so many have mentioned tonight is how to stand up for myself within myself. Well, how did I stand up for myself within myself when I felt like at one point I had broken pieces all over the floor and I didn't know which one to even start off with? I just felt completely broken. And so by just slowing down and allowing the 3 principles and just really giving myself that permission to just go a little deeper there. And she helped me go deep and really face some of the stories that I had or face some of the realities that I wasn't happy with. So how could I stand up for myself within myself and own who I was being on that topic or in that topic? And so it's really been a process. Um, and it was by myself with her. And so I feel like calling her my godmother because she was sent to me, I felt like God alignment. She helped me kind of sort out some of my priorities, and it's who I was being in my relationship, who I was being as a parent, who I'm being for myself, or how I was not being in all of those categories plus. And so it's just taught me a lot. And I just really appreciate, I resonated with so many of the shares today. I wrote so many notes, but it really became how do I stand up for myself within myself? Or how do I share myself if I don't even know myself anymore? And that was a place where I was. If I didn't even know myself, how could I let anyone know who I was if I didn't even know who I was? So it was just, again, her ability to help me slow down and just take one thought at a time. She was the one that got me to slow down to journal prompt just with one thought at a time. And so I have so much to thank Iyanla for. I could go on and on about many different directions of how she has served me and loved me, probably without her knowing. And so it just really creates the powerful understanding is we never know the impact that we can create by finding our voice and using our voice and sharing our voice and allowing people to know who we are and to share our love and who we are. And so I just really thank all of you for being present tonight and allowing me to share. And just those of you that are here, I've spent a little time with you and allowing me to love you too, and allow me to get to know you too, and allow you to get to know me too. And I just love you. I love you so much. So thank you. Going into the Thanksgiving holidays, I cannot thank Amy Hardison, Steve Hardison, Alan D. Thompson, Iyanla Vanzant, Donna Hall, all of Team Tuck, everyone present. Thank you so much for who you be, because each of you honestly have grown me. Every time we show up and we kind of take these chapters apart together, I grow. So thank you for being here with me. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Tanya. It's beautiful. I loved that you said we never know the impact that we can create. That for me was really, really deep in finding out, the importance of finding out who we are, who each of us are, because we can impact each other's lives so tremendously. And we've, Yeah, okay. So moving on. Renata, did you want to speak again, you and the roosters?
Yes. Thank you, Tanya, for your vulnerable sharing. And that I, I felt you because I felt broken so often. And yesterday I got a reminder that is very funny. One of my roosters jumped on my veranda rail, and I have all my hearts lying there. And one of my favorite coral hearts, a perfect heart shape, fall down to the floor, to the tile floor, and broke in 2 pieces. But it is still beautiful. And it reminded me to something beautiful the Japanese are doing. They take broken dishes and they fill the gaps with gold. So it is a whole one, but it is a new one. And what make it broke is still there. So that is like us finding the gold nuggets when we read together and when we listen to each other. So thank you very much for all your sharing.
Thank you, Renata. I love that. It made me think of what you said of finding the gold nuggets, and then what went through my head was and integrating them into our lives to fill my broken pieces. And that's, again, we can even go outside of that and we can help fill other people's broken pieces by knowing who we are and by finding the truth in ourselves. So thank you. Wolfgang, go right ahead, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for giving.
There we go. Thanks, Wolfgang. We appreciate you always getting up in the morning and early morning and being here with us. Okay, anybody else that would like to share with us tonight? Okay, you know, I just have to say that I think that this has been an incredible night. I just saw one of the notes where Elizabeth said, you reminded me of the Grinch when he starts feeling. You're allowed to be vulnerable. So thank you for that, my dear. I think it's, I don't know if you're calling me a Grinch or not, but that's okay. This has been a tremendously powerful night for me. It's been a great reminder of why I'm part of this group, why I'm part of Team Tuck, and what my purpose here is to find out who I am and to help others find out who they are, and to stand strong for myself and support others to stand strong for themselves as well. So thank you all for being here. And right now we're going to pass it along to Miss Elizabeth to wrap this up.
All right. Oh, what an awesome night. We have so many amazing people in this group, and there's always so much that comes from each book reading, so many powerful shares. I want to take a moment just to say thank you to everybody this evening. And with that, before we close, I just want to see if Donna, you have anything else that you want to share tonight with us. Do you have any other insights or anything that's coming up for you as our guest? One second, Donna. We're getting you unmuted again. There we go.
Yes. I'm just in awe. I think of, all the sharings that happened tonight. It's, when you hear of the different perspectives, it makes me realize the power within me, and it's one of my poems I had shared with Tanya, that the power has always been within us, and everything that we've experienced in life was really to show us how much power that we do have. So I'm so grateful to be a part of the group. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for connecting. Thank you for growing, not only yourselves, but the rest of us, our group. It's a beautiful, beautiful space. And I appreciate you and all you did this evening. Oh, I also want to say thank you so much to David. David, you show up all the time and we appreciate you stepping up and volunteering to reading in your shares. Well, thank you for that. And then our friends who are stepping up, our other readers this evening. Everybody has just done an amazing job. And I just want to say thank you so much. And our moderators, Team Tuck. I know everybody's working on growing. Everybody's stepping into these roles. Everybody's stepping up. Everybody's been growing. Carol and her share this evening, stepping out of those comfort zones. I'm just so proud of everybody here. I just want to acknowledge everybody on Team Talk. Thank you for everything that you're doing to help create this space for everybody. This has just been awesome. And I want to say thank you to our next guest book reader, our very own Miss Tanya Alvarez. She's going to be reading for us this coming Sunday. We're so excited. It's going to be November 26th and 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Chapter 21, Byron Katie. Another powerhouse who is so influential for so many and has so much insight as well. So with that, I want to just remind everybody that we have all kinds of amazing things coming up. The 2-year anniversary for our Arizona event. It's coming up in Scottsdale, January 26th and 27th. If you don't have information and would like that, you can drop yes into the chat or Arizona and we can get you that. There's a new link that we can share in there as well. If you need information on where to get your tickets, please drop that in there. And our events are also fundraisers. So the Arizona event is going to help the Operation Underground Railroad that helps prevent child sex trafficking. So awesome organization. We also have the 2B24 Ultimate Birmingham Experience. That's going to be May 25th and 26th, 2024 in Birmingham, UK. And there's a link that if you don't already have that information, please drop it in. If you don't have your tickets, you can learn more about the event. That fundraiser is going to be going to the Birmingham Children's Hospital, and it's going to be helping them with cochlear implants. So Be Here is going to help give those children the opportunity to hear for potentially the first time, or to help them hear better so they can actually understand the words and not just muffled sounds. But imagine how amazing that could be, transforming the life of not only that child, but that family. So again, another amazing event. So we have all kinds of awesome things that we can grow ourselves, but we can also help others out there. And we've got a lot of other different ways and resources for you to help your own self with your own being journey. You can check out the Ultimate Coach YouTube channel. We have the Ultimate Coach podcast. You can connect on Instagram, LinkedIn, obviously our Facebook group. And we also have the weekly Being Digest. So if you have any need to further your being, jump on a connection bingo, jump on one of these resources, post in the group, go live, whatever it is. There's all kinds of things. ultimatecoachextras.com is another place to find some more amazing info. So there's so many ways to take your being to the next level, and we would just love to be able to help support you in that. Anytime, you have questions, whatever, feel free to message me, tag me in something. I'll help find whatever info I can, and I'm sure anybody else in Team Tuck or in the group in general would be happy to jump on and help you answer questions. And with all of that, it is time that I'm going to invite each and every one of you to join us in the afterglow. There's more sharing that can happen there. We're going to go off camera. There won't be any more recording. So if you don't feel like you're comfortable enough to share while the recording is on, please join us in that space. If you just have more that you want to share, by all means, stay on and hang out with us. We also give everybody the opportunity to unmute at this point and wish everybody else a good morning, a good night, a good afternoon until we're together again the next time, and a very happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you.
Happy Thanksgiving. Take care. Good night.
Happy
Yes,
Good night.
enjoy
Bye,
your
everyone.
Thanksgiving
Thanksgiving,
holidays.
Everyone.
Bye.
Good
Joy.
night.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Thank you, Donna.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you,
You're
Donna.
welcome.
Donna.
Thank you,
Thank you
Donna.
so much,
Thank
Donna.
you. Thank
Love
you.
to
Thank you.
everyone.
Wonderful.
Oh,
Wonderful.
so wonderful. Thank you so much for being here and your outstanding share. Absolutely. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. You have a new piece of real estate in my, now this is the second time, so that real estate keeps getting bigger and bigger in my heart every time I get to spend time with you.
Oh,
So
thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Such a beautiful
Good
job.
night, everyone. Bye.
Good
Good night. Happy
night.
Good
Thanksgiving.
night.
Thanks.